Hey everyone, before we dive in, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and gets these stories out to more people who might need them. I never went into marriage thinking we'd have fireworks in the bedroom every single night. I'm realistic. I knew real relationships aren't like Hollywood romances. But what caught me off guard was feeling completely shut out in my own home for months, only for her to suddenly announce she wanted a kid, acting like everything was fine. My name's Alex. I'm 39 years old. I work in supply chain management, a reliable job with long shifts, nothing flashy. My wife, Sarah, is 36. We've been together as husband and wife for 9 years. For the majority of that time, I figured we were doing okay. Not flawless, but steady. We shared laughs. We made plans. We had daily habits that felt comforting and secure. I thought that meant a lot. Then the gap between us crept in gradually, without much noise. The sort of shift you don't spot right away until it's already settled in deep. It began with reasons. She was exhausted, dealing with migraines, overwhelmed by her job or hormonal changes. I didn't pressure her. I never made her feel bad about it. I assume closeness ebbs and flows in long-term relationships. So I backed off. I concentrated on being there for her, making meals, running chores, giving her room to unwind. I convinced myself that real love requires waiting patiently. Weeks stretched into months. Zero warmth, zero interest, not even the little gestures, like holding my hand or cuddling up next to me while watching TV. Whenever I leaned in for a kiss, she'd turn away without thinking, like it was second nature, like my affection had turned into a bother. I wasn't mad. I was bewildered and overlooked. One evening, after another silent meal, I finally spoke up. I told her I missed her, missed what we had. I explained I wasn't demanding anything extraordinary, just some connection. She gazed at me with weary eyes and replied, "I've just not been feeling like myself these days. This has nothing to do with you." That response turned into her go-to defense. Whenever I brought it up again, I'd hear the same thing. "It's not you. Be patient." I'm not in that headspace right now. So eventually, I quit bringing it up. And that could have been the worst part of all. Because when a guy stops trying, it's often because he started believing he doesn't count anymore. If you've ever been in a partnership where quiet took over from tenderness, give this a like right now. It pushes the story to others who could really use hearing it. By the 4th month, our bedroom wasn't simply calm. It felt empty. I'd lie beside my wife each night and feel totally isolated. I'd stay up staring at the dark, questioning if this was normal for marriages getting older or if it was something more serious. Then things changed unexpectedly. All of a sudden, Sarah began behaving differently. Not exactly affectionate, but purposeful. She started bringing up our long-term plans, money matters, what our life might look like in 5 years. One morning over coffee, she mentioned offhand, "Have you ever considered expanding our family?" It landed oddly with me. Not because the idea of kids was off the table. We'd discussed it long ago, but because we'd had zero physical closeness for so long. Jumping from dodging intimacy to talking about conceiving doesn't happen without a reason. I asked what made her think of it now. She gave a tense smile, not a genuine one. "I just feel like we're ready for that step." That same night, she made the first move in bed after months. It seemed hurried and routine, like ticking something off a to-do list. I didn't feel wanted. I felt like a means to an end. That's when things started clicking for me. I began noticing details I'd brushed aside earlier. Her phone always glued to her. How she'd slip into another room to reply to messages. The new focus on schedules, tracking cycles, specific dates, stuff she never paid attention to before. I didn't call her out. I didn't start a fight. I simply observed more closely. At this point in the story, drop a comment telling me what you'd be suspecting if you were me. The reality didn't come from her admitting it. It came from an oversight. One night, she left her tablet out on the counter while she was in the shower. A notification appeared, just a name with a heart emoji, and it wasn't from me. I didn't check it. I didn't have to. All those gut feelings finally made sense. That evening, she climbed into bed and placed her hand on my chest gently. "I truly believe we should start trying for a baby," she murmured. I looked up at the ceiling, thoughts spinning. Fatherhood didn't frighten me. What did was becoming a fix for an issue I had no part in making, because by then I was pretty sure I knew what was going on. If this part struck a chord with you personally, comment the word clarity down below. Some truths sink in softly, but they shift your whole world. I held off on confronting her immediately, not out of fear, but because I had to figure out exactly where I stood. Throwing around blame without proof only leads to more mess, not resolution. So I bided my time. I paid closer attention. I tuned in. In the following days, the behavior stood out more. She was more attentive now, but only in ways that serve her plan. No real interest in how I was doing. No effort to mend the emotional gap that had almost crushed me. Just strategy, just pushing forward, just subtle insistence wrapped up as positivity. One night, she mentioned it again, sat close, leaned her head on me, and said, "I honestly think this would bring us back together." Those words revealed it all. A baby wasn't about rebuilding love. It was about securing control. It was about holding things in place. And that's when it hit me hard in the chest like nothing before. She wasn't trying to get me back. She was trying to regain the security. So I posed a straightforward question. "Sarah," I said evenly, "why right now?" She paused a beat longer than normal. Then came the prepared response about the right timing. Our ages. Wanted to feel whole. But she couldn't look me in the eye the whole time. And when somebody avoids your gaze while talking about building a life together, they're concealing something happening right now. That night, after she dozed off, I sat by myself in the living room and let it all sink in, not with rage, not with devastation, but with clear understanding, the quiet, weighty kind. I realized I couldn't go on without truthfulness, not for my sake, and definitely not for any potential child. The following morning, I said we had to have a serious conversation, a real one. She sat opposite me at the table, her coffee going cold. I stayed calm, no accusations, no yelling. I simply stated, "I know there's another person involved. And before you say no, know this. I'm not looking for an argument. I need this so I can figure out my next steps." Her expression didn't turn defensive. It crumbled. Tears started quickly. The admissions poured out. An emotional connection with someone else. She insisted nothing physical. She explained feeling adrift, detached, uncertain. It wasn't intentional, she claimed. The idea of a baby was her way of holding on to what we had left. I listened without interrupting, taking it all in. And when she was done, I told her the toughest words I'd ever spoken. A kid shouldn't come into a relationship that's already struggling to stay afloat. She sobbed more. She said sorry over and over. She vowed to change, suggested therapy, swore she'd put in the work. All the promises I'd longed to hear for months, now arriving when the damage was done. Because the hard reality people avoid saying is that timing changes everything. Affection given only when someone's scared the fallout isn't genuine, it's panic. If you think sharing this could help somebody spot a tough situation sooner, pass it along. Someone out there might need this viewpoint today. I didn't pack up and walk out that day. No big scene, no slamming doors. I explained I required real time to process. Actual distance, not this in-between limbo. And for the first time in ages, she didn't push back. She just agreed quietly. In the weeks that followed, I faced questions I'd dodged for a long while. Was I hanging on because I felt truly valued? Or just because I was handy? Was I picking ease over dignity? And above all, could I rely on a future rooted in necessity rather than genuine wanting? The answers arrived gradually but definitively. I decided against trying for a child, and against staying in a marriage where closeness felt forced instead of natural. When I shared that with her, she took it steadily, almost too steadily, like she'd been bracing for it. And perhaps that sealed it for me. We parted ways soon after. No yelling, no drama, just documents, empty spaces, and this odd sense of peace from no longer faking it. These days, I'm not resentful. I'm not sour. I'm thankful I paid attention to my instincts before getting locked into something untrue forever. Now, I have a big question for you. Do you think holding out for what a relationship could become is worth giving up your own worth? Let's discuss it in the comments. What I took away is straightforward but tough to live by. Love doesn't vanish in an instant. It fades when truth stops being part of things. And wishing hard can't substitute for shared wanting. If you've been in a situation where affection gets pulled away, only for big promises to appear when they're worried about losing the setup, stop. Pay attention. That shift is signaling something important. If this hit home for you, like the video, share your thoughts or your own story below and subscribe. These aren't just tales for passing time. They're wake-up calls that respecting yourself is the base of any true connection.